In fact, according to Google, singing is the most desirable skill people want for themselves.
I'm not sure if that's how Google works, but let's give this a shot. To be honest, I've collectively spent maybe 30-something hours over the last 2-ish years trying to sing by myself, so I'm very mediocre and not even good enough to tell where my mistakes are. Showing off my singing isn't the purpose of this video. This video is intended to present a framework for starting to sing that I think is utilizable by most people in, as far as I'm aware, a new sort of logical perspective, targeted at people who just have no idea how to begin making progress. Understanding and applying this video should make it so you can become mediocre almost immediately and start making sense of stuff people say in other videos, which will let you incorporate their advice and improve. People with talent seem to intrinsically understand the central concepts of this video, but have trouble getting others to understand since, well, reasoning is difficult even for mathematicians. If you feel frustrated by singing tutorials,
the key really is just get started. Work on it every day. We have limitless potential.
Or just want to be able to sing without being offensive, great, keep watching. There's really only 3-ish requirements I think most people already meet to start singing. 1, you aren't tone deaf, 2, other people don't dislike it when you talk, and 3, your voice has at least 1 octave of range. Let's start by proving the big idea. By our second requirement, people won't dislike the sound of you reading the lyrics of a song aloud with the right timing. For example, I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when did you last let your heart decide? At the same time, by our first requirement, since you're not tone deaf, you can figure out the relative tune of this song independent of its lyrics, say by listening to a recording.
I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid.
Then by our third requirement, your voice can produce the pitches of this tune, modular your range, in a neutral fashion, like by humming, which people shouldn't dislike if you're accurate. But since you can speak words and vocalize pitches separately, these two actions must be independent. So it follows people have nothing to dislike if you can do them together without letting one affect the other, assuming you pitch and time accurately and enunciate as you normally speak. I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, viewers, now when did you last let your heart decide? But wait, this is just mediocre singing, which was our goal. QED. For demonstration, I tried to teach a friend who has a very different voice from me. This was her before we began.
A whole new world, a dazzling place I never knew. But when I'm way up here, it's crystal clear. Then now I'm in a whole new world with you.
I then explained the content of this video and had her practice for about 10 minutes. To practice this beginner level, basically just follow the steps of the proof. First, read a section of lyrics and pay attention to how you shape the words when you speak.
A whole new world, a dazzling place I never knew. But when I'm way up here, it's crystal clear that now I'm in a whole new world with you.
Second, figure out the tune by listening to a recording or reading sheet music.
A whole new world, a dazzling place I never knew.
Third, hum or in some way neutrally vocalize the tune. Fourth, record and listen to yourself putting them together without letting the tune influence how you pronounce the words, making adjustments to enunciation and pitch till you're satisfied.
A whole new world, a dazzling place I never knew. But when I'm way up here, it's crystal clear that now I'm in a whole new world with you.
After incorporating these adjustments and roughly 30 more minutes of practice, this is how my friend sounded.
A whole new world, a dazzling place I never knew. But when I'm way up here, it's crystal clear that now I'm in a whole new world with you.
Before going further, we should understand how actually our voices are controlled. This is critical for figuring out what is responsible for what when fixing errors or learning more advanced techniques like vibrato. At a basic level, there are 3 independent components a lot of people seem to conflate. Your abs, which controls your breath through directing your diaphragm. Your larynx, which controls pitch by adjusting the length and tension of your vocal folds, which vibrate the air let through by your abs. and your throat, mouth, and tongue which shape the vibrated air, i.e. sound, into things like words. I recommend really thinking about what it means, for example, to hit high notes or transition between pitches in this model. Now that we understand how our voices produce sound, we can sustain syllables to fit a song's timing with special attention given to how we enunciate vowels. For example, a whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. No one to tell us no, or where to go, or say we're only dreaming. Lastly, we can improve upon our regular speech by deciding on rules for how to enunciate syllables in a way that best suits our own voices. I feel this is mostly trial and error since it seems different for everyone, but linguists or vocal coaches or whoever's in this industry might disagree. From our framework and these improvements, we can see how expertise is eventually developed. Sustains evolve by adding vibrato and becomes a point where a lot of emotion can be expressed. Enunciation design can eventually cover rules for syllables and pitch transitions, and we can play with other parts of the system to include things like adjusting vocal fold closure, adding breathiness, achieving resonance, and other timbre-related things. Refining your rules and techniques allows you to develop a style that uniquely fits your own voice. And as far as I know, these principles apply to singing in any other language or genre, since none of what we've talked about has been married to a whole new world specifically. There seems to be a misconception that singing is like a light switch. Once you know how to sing, you can sing anything, maybe because, unlike a violin or something, most of us have experience using our voices for a long time. But this idea isn't true, even for the extremely talented. It's the same as with any other instrument. With more skill, you'll be able to sight-sing more things, but you still have to practice to get that skill. You can't just jump in and try to imitate the sound of a professional singer with no fundamentals and wonder why your emotional, incorrect, jaw-shifting vibrato built upon reinforced bad habits doesn't sound good. As with many things, the line between talent and practice is blurry. We might argue vocal range, lung capacity, bass coordination level, and some aspects of timbre are talent. On the other hand, understanding how to combine enunciation and pitch orthogonally is practice. In fact, this idea seems to be fundamental to explaining how many non-native English speakers can sing in English so well. Here's a clip of Lin Yu Chun speaking English.
I'm very excited that I can join this show.
Compared to him singing. With this video, I hope you can confidently start singing. Emphasis on start. There's still a lot to explore, like natural vibrato, transitioning between and within registers, and bass. Shout out to Codfish. If you have some insights, please share it in the comments. Thanks for watching.